Imagine a superpower, sprawling and mighty, humbled by a small, determined republic. This was the bitter reality of the First Chechen War. In the mid-90s, the world watched in disbelief as Russia, a global titan with vast resources and military prowess, faced an unexpected defeat. The adversary? Chechnya, a small republic with a burning desire for independence. The disparity between the two was staggering. On one hand, Russia, a nation with a history of imperial dominance, equipped with some of the world's most advanced weaponry. On the other, Chechnya, a region lesser known, yet brimming with a fierce determination, its people ready to fight tooth and nail for their autonomy. The David versus Goliath battle unfolded in an unexpected manner. Russia, despite its overwhelming force, found itself on the back foot, struggling to contain the Chechen resistance. This unforeseen defeat served as a stark reminder that sheer might and resources can't always guarantee victory. It underlined the power of determination, resilience, and the unyielding spirit of a people fighting for their freedom. This was the beginning of an era that would forever change the dynamics of power in the Caucasus region. The fuse was lit in 1991, when Chechnya declared independence from Russia, a move that Russia refused to acknowledge. This was the beginning of a tense standoff, a game of political chess where the stakes were not just political power, but the lives and futures of the Chechen people. The year was 1991. The Soviet Union, a superpower that had held sway over Eastern Europe for decades, was crumbling under the weight of its own contradictions. As the Iron Curtain fell, the Chechen Republic seized the opportunity to break free from the Russian Federation. The desire for independence was strong, fueled by centuries of cultural and religious differences. However, Russia, unwilling to lose its grip on the oil-rich region, did not recognize this declaration. The next 3 years were marked by escalating tensions. Russia, under the leadership of Boris Yeltsin, attempted to regain control over Chechnya through a series of political maneuvers and economic blockades. But the Chechens, under the leadership of General Jokhar Dudayev, resisted these efforts fiercely. They fortified their defenses, built up their military, and prepared for the inevitable clash. The situation came to a head in 1994. Russia, frustrated by its inability to exert control over Chechnya, launched a full-scale military invasion. This was not a surgical strike, but a brutal display of force intended to crush the Chechen resistance. Little did they know, this would be the beginning of a bloody conflict that would last for nearly 2 years. A conflict that would see the Russian military machine, once feared across the globe, pushed to its limits. The Chechen War was not just a battle for territory. It was a clash of cultures, a struggle for identity. It was a war that pitted the might of a superpower against the determination of a people unwilling to be dominated. And as the first shots rang out in the bitter cold of December 1994, one thing became clear. The Chechen people were not going down without a fight. The stage was set for a conflict that would shake the entire region. The war was not a fair fight, but a brutal display of force. This line encapsulates the heart-wrenching reality of war. It's a grim spectacle where the innocent often pay the highest price. In the First Chechen War, the brutality reached new heights, painting a stark picture of the horrors that unfolded. The Russian forces, in their quest for dominance, unleashed a heavy bombardment, reducing towns and cities to rubble. The air was filled with the deafening sound of explosions. The earth shook, and the sky turned into a canvas of smoke and fire. But it wasn't just the buildings that were decimated. Countless lives were also lost in this relentless onslaught. Among the casualties were civilians, the most vulnerable victims of this ruthless war. Men, women, and children found themselves in the middle of a conflict they didn't choose. Innocent lives were extinguished, families were torn apart, and dreams were shattered. The ruthlessness of war doesn't discriminate. It engulfs everyone in its path. In the midst of this brutality, a story of fierce resistance unfolded. The Chechen forces, though outnumbered and outgunned, refused to bow down to the Russian might. They fought with a ferocity that was fueled by the love for their homeland and the desire to protect their people. Each bullet they fired, each life they sacrificed, was a testament to their unyielding spirit. Their resistance wasn't just on the battlefield. It was in the hearts of every Chechen who refused to let the spirit of their nation be crushed. It was in the eyes of the mothers who lost their children, but never their hope. in the resilience of the fathers who rebuilt their homes from the ruins, and in the courage of the children who dared to dream of a peaceful future amidst the chaos. The Chechen forces faced a formidable enemy, but they were not deterred. Their defiance was their weapon, their courage their shield. And in the face of overwhelming odds, they held their ground, proving that the strength of a nation lies not in its military power, but in the indomitable spirit of its people. Despite the odds, the Chechen forces held their ground, turning the tide of the war. The Russian forces, despite their superior numbers and weaponry, were not prepared for the ferocity of the Chechen resistance. And so began the downfall of a military giant. Notwithstanding their numerical strength, the Russian forces had underestimated the challenge that lay ahead. The Chechen resistance, though outgunned, was unyielding, its spirit undiminished in the face of an overwhelming adversary. Strategic blunders played a pivotal role in Russia's defeat. The Russian military, accustomed to traditional warfare, was ill-equipped for the urban conflict that unfolded in the streets of Grozny. They were unprepared for the guerrilla tactics used by the Chechen fighters, who knew every alley and rooftop in their city. The Chechen resistance was not just fighting a war. They were defending their homes, their families, and their way of life. This determination fueled a resistance that was relentless and fierce. It was a fight for survival, and the Chechens fought with a tenacity that the Russian forces were not ready for. Moreover, the Russian troops were plagued by lack of preparedness. Poorly trained and inadequately equipped, they were thrown into a conflict that they were not mentally or physically prepared for. The harsh winter conditions further exacerbated their plight, leading to low morale and an increasing number of casualties. The lack of a clear military strategy was another major factor in Russia's defeat. The Russian forces were unable to establish control over the city. Their attempts to seize key strategic points often met with fierce resistance. The Russian command's failure to adapt to changing circumstances on the ground further compounded their problems. In the end, the Russian forces, worn out and demoralized, could not sustain the fight. Their initial confidence had turned into despair, their hope for a swift victory replaced by the dread of a protracted conflict. The Russian forces were forced to withdraw in 1996, marking a surprising victory for the Chechens. The war left deep scars on both sides and set the stage for further conflicts. The aftermath was not just physical destruction, but a profound human tragedy, with civilians bearing the brunt. Children disappeared, families shattered, and an entire generation was marked by the horrors of war. The geopolitical landscape was forever altered, with Russia's image tarnished on the global stage. Yet, the conflict didn't end with the First Chechen War. It merely set the stage for an ongoing cycle of violence and power struggles in the region. The pain lingers on, and the scars remain raw, reminding us of the human cost of war. In summary, the First Chechen War was a pivotal moment in Russia's history. It showcased the determination of the Chechen people, the brutal reality of war, and the unforeseen defeat of a formidable opponent. It also highlighted the disastrous impacts of military actions on innocent civilians, and the geopolitical implications that resonate to this day. The First Chechen War was a stark reminder that determination and resilience can overcome even the most formidable opponents.